Okay, so the board and cord rant, right? Board and cord is almost certainly the fakest archetype out there. There's quite a lot of fake archetypes, but I think board and cord is the fakest. I've mentioned this before, but the archetypes, and our understanding in like Western Fire Emblem fan base of the archetypes, they originate in Fire Emblem 7, 8, and 9. They don't originate in Fire Emblem 1. And the reason I say this is because what happened is those were the first 3 games to be released internationally. People noticed patterns in those games and then decided like, okay, well, we need to name, if these are archetypes that have been around forever, we need to map them onto something older than these games. So that's why the idea of an Est really originates with Nino more so than Est. Some iterations of Est kind of fit the pattern, but Nino is by far the cleanest example of an Est. That's also why people say Oifey is a thing, because it was back in the day when people wanted to pretend all Jagans were bad. But Titania and Seth were so good that they had to be like, well, these can't be bad. Like, they're so good that even the Jagan haters acknowledged that they were not bad. So they were like, okay, well, they can't be Jagans. They have to be something else. What can they be? Oh, well, this guy Oifey has really high growths. So he must be good also. Ignoring the context that within Fire Emblem 4, Oifey's growths are actually quite bad compared to Generation 2 units, right? So that's why they labeled like Oifeys as just Jagans that don't fall off. Because Seth and Titania were so good. It's funny because like if you wanted to claim that that was an archetype, right? Sigurd is right there. Now I don't think Oifey's a real archetype. I made a video about that, but it is more pointing towards that like 7, 8, 9 is where a lot of the archetypes come from. So where does that leave us with board and cord? Well, there's a duo of axe fighters that join you very early in Fire Emblem 7 in Dorcas and Barter. There's kind of a duo of axe fighters that join you in 8 in Ross and Garcia, although even there, it doesn't really feel like a duo of axe fighters because Ross is like a trainee, right? So already we're sort of deviating from just the fast fighter and the strong fighter, which is what they're supposed to be, right? But then you work backwards, you go, oh, well, you know, in Fire Emblem 6, we get Lot and Wade. So clearly we've established a pattern now. In only those 3 games, though, right? In only those 3 games. There are no other games. Well, actually, no. In Thracia. In Thracia, there's Ocean and Halvin. There's Ocean and Halvin. Now, FE6 is pretty derivative of FE1 and FE5, right? Because Kaga had just left. They're trying to, like, simplify things a lot. And so they go back to the basics. They take some of the mechanics from Thracia, like rescue and whatnot. They have a lot of references to Fire Emblem 1. Chapter 1 of FE6 is Chapter 1 of FE1, but rotated 90 degrees. And a lot of the, like, oh, mercenaries join you in Chapter 2. They're led by an actual mercenary, and there's some axe fighters alongside with them, right? So it makes sense that there's these sort of, like, callbacks to FE1. The thing about board and cord is people try to claim, oh, well, board and cord were a duo in Fire Emblem 1. Barst is their boss. But that's not... Anyone who's played any Arcanea game can tell you that's not what it fucking is, though. Because these are characters that have almost no dialogue. But in the limited dialogue they have, it's communicated. Board, cord, and Barst work for Ogma. Barst is part of a trio of axe fighters. There's not a duo of axe fighters in FE1. And people just say, oh, well, it's board and cord, because their names rhymed. And because there were 2 axe fighters in Fire Emblem 6 and 7. But the 2 axe fighters in 7 were a reference to the 2 in 6, which is why Bartrace's one of them, because he's from FE6. I can probably, like, formulate this argument much more cleanly than I have. I do eventually kind of want to make a video about like fake archetypes, like Merrick's and stuff like that. And I will definitely talk about Board and Chord in that and probably be like less unhinged, but I am high right now. So like, you know, I can't get all of my thoughts straight. Something not straight, something gay. Oh my god, are you not done grinding supports yet? I think we probably hit the cap. That's unfortunate. I will be turning this into a video probably.